sitting on the football. Jeez. Things the brothers got to do to get a light here. Damn. Need to get some new, keep my greasy hands off the damn phone. There we go. Get some new lighters out here. Whew. It is late, y'all. It is late. Everybody's gone. Shout out to Wes, tailgate member. Called me up and said, hey, I'm in town. I would love to come through. The Ward family, he's coming in from California next week. He's going to be here for a game. It was great having Wesley here. You know, you guys see me all the time and know who I am and stuff. And it's nice to get to know you guys as well. And it was great to have a win. You know, it's funny because at first I was like, who do I want to root for? Giants or Commanders? Because, you know, you got Rio talking about, you know, we're the hottest team in the NFL and everything else. We're doing great things. And then you got the Giants who, you know, are kind of going downhill. But, you know, if they got the win over Washington, that they start talking some smack. And I said jokingly before the game, I said, can a brother get a tie? It was kind of like, I was really like, okay, I would rather see Washington win than to see the Giants win because, you know, I like Hot Pizzle having pain. But be that as it may, it couldn't have been any nicer to see them tie. You know, it's perfect for them to tie. But the NFC East is really back. I want to give a shout out to Lincoln Coleman. Lincoln Coleman came on our live stream for about an hour and a half, and I met Lincoln Coleman at a tailgate I had years ago. And as he put it, man, he's like, man, the food was so good. He said, I fell asleep at the game, man. But listening to Lincoln and some of the stories that he shares and stuff like that, he was great. And that's one of the things you just never know what's going to happen on the Joe Boo Sports Report. But shout out to my man Daniel coming over, DMV and things, being here and being part of the show and stuff. And I hope that you guys have been entertained. It's been a long day for 10 and a half hours of going live streaming. Is a long time. And even before the game, getting food and stuff prepared for the game and stuff. But it's a sport that we love. And here it is. Week 13 for the Cowboys is in the books. The season is literally flying by. It takes too long to get here, and it goes too fast. Before I get to the game balls, I don't know if this was true or not. Somebody said that Odell was in a luxury suite. I don't know if that's the case or not. I don't know. I just heard somebody say it in the chat. So if it's true, great. If it wasn't, I don't know one way or the other. It wouldn't surprise me any. And I'm curious, with the Cowboys scoring 54 points, do we need Odell? But we'll get to that in just a second. Tomorrow basically is kind of like college recruiting day. Odell's been to New York and spent, 2 days there. He went to Buffalo and had dinner. Tomorrow he's going to be coming to Dallas and getting wined and dined and meeting the team and the facilities and Jerry Jones. He's going to be going, Luka from the Mavs is going to be trying to help recruit him. He's going to be going to a Mavs game, so I'm guessing it'll be floor-side seats. And then Tuesday he's going to be hanging out with Dak Prescott. I'm wondering if he's going to be going to Dak Prescott's house and working out on the field and stuff. But they're saying that he's hoped to be signed by a team by the middle of the week, which would be Wednesday. But he's not working out, or at least he didn't work out for the Bills, and he didn't work out for the Giants. And so the question you have to say is, if you're not ready to do a workout for us, when is it you're going to be ready to actually play? Because this, to me, I think, was about a move about trying to win it all this year. So we'll find out more, I'm sure, tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a big day. And keep your ears close. So anything that breaks, we'll talk about it here on the Joe Boo Sports Report. So the Cowboys, it was a tale of two halves. When you get the chat in there, you get everybody, you get all kinds of stuff in different spectrums, okay? When Dak threw the interception, Michael Gallup got hit. You could have possibly called pass interference. If it had been another team, it probably would have been. And that's where he got knocked off his route. To me, Dak is throwing to a spot because you have to understand, here's the thing. I don't think people realize, when you go ski shooting, they pull, the clay pigeon is going out. You're shooting where the pigeon is going to be, not where it's at. You're not aiming at it right there because by the time the bullet gets there, it's going to be over here. And that's the same thing with the timing route. So if Dak has been working out with Michael Gallup and he's supposed to be at this spot, that's where I'm throwing to. I'm not looking and seeing where he is. I'm throwing to that spot. If the receiver gets bumped off that route, the timing's out of it, and it's going to be, it's a bad throw. And I'm not going to say that Dak had a great game because there were a bunch of passes that were high. It was not Dak Prescott's best game. He had some bad throws in there. And guess what? You can take any quarterback out there. Anyone. Hall of Famers. Current great ones. Pat Mahomes. They sometimes have bad passes. And people are so apt and so ready to just go completely negative. I'm sick of this damn team. Man, fire Dak, man. It's time to draft another quarterback. And it's like, wait a minute. Do you realize in the last 5 weeks, the Dallas Cowboys have scored 199 points? Now, some of that was the defense today. Scored 54 against the Colts. And I know, big deal. It's just the Colts. They're sorry. Well, understand that the Eagles barely got out of there alive against the Colts, winning 17-16. And the Colts beat the Kansas City Chiefs. This team, for whatever reason, performs against good teams. Against the ass teams, they lose. But they play pretty well against them. I don't care how you did it. You scored 54 points and 199 points over the last 5 weeks. And going into this game, the Cowboys offense over the last 5 games had already been the number one offense, which is doing 33.8 points a game. With this mega game right here, the Cowboys scored an average of the last 5 weeks, 39.8 points a game. Let me say that again. 39.8 points a game. Going into this week, Kansas City was the number one scoring offense on the season at 29.8. The Cowboys over the last 5 weeks have scored 10 points more than that. It's insane how many points the Cowboys scored. So let's get to the game balls. Dak wasn't a great game. In fact, you can look at the Dallas Cowboys and say, this was not a great game at all. The first half was kind of like, meh. We were running the ball real good. Passing game wasn't great. Michael Gallup had a hard time getting into gear and kept getting knocked off routes. CeeDee Lamb was playing great. Zeke Elliott was running great. Tony Pollard took him a while to get into gear, but once he got into gear, he was great. But Dak did recover and end up throwing 3 touchdown passes. 3. 2 of them to Michael Gallup. So Michael Gallup definitely, for getting in the end zone twice, gets a game ball. Early on in that game, CeeDee Lamb was literally unstoppable. They could not tackle him. And for the first time, I saw CeeDee Lamb getting physical himself. He always seemed like he was more of that finesse player. But he was hitting people left and right and literally letting them know, I ain't going nowhere, which to me, he's kind of a skinny kid. He was manning and beasting the hell up. Not a lot of yards today passing, only 170 yards passing, but 70 of those, I believe 70 or 71 yards of them went to CeeDee Lamb. And early in the game, he was a beast. He got a touchdown pass as well. So shout out to him. Tony Pollard was beasting like a mother humper. 91 yards on 12 carries, 7.6 yard average. Dude, two TDs. Freaking insane. And what you got from Tony Pollard is what most teams would like to just be able to say, we got that from our running game. When you add Zeke Elliott in for 17 carries for 77 yards and a TD as well, not to mention that you got 23 yards from CeeDee Lamb for 2 runs, and Mr. Davis, I think he had 2 carries for like 21 yards. We had over 200 yards of running the football. And guys, that's what you need come playoff time. That's what you need. You got to give the two-headed monster of our running game balls. When you can rush the ball for over 200 yards, chances are you're pretty much going to win the game. Usually, you're going to be able to win the game. And being able to get some passes together in there as well, 170 yards from Dak, 200-some yards. You had almost 400 yards of offense, and just were lightening it up. It was efficient. Just the one bad interception, although it could have been another one. Like I said, this was not Dak Prescott's best game. But you're going to have weeks where you have guys that are having a great game, and you have other ones when they're not. Today was not a great game for Dalton Schultz. He had a couple of drops, but he ended up making a couple of clutch ones down the stretch. So you're going to have good games and bad games. Jake Ferguson had a clutch catch in there, had, I think, a bad penalty somewhere in there. But, again, as long as you have more positive things happening than negative, as long as you can keep this up going, then that's great. One of the things I noticed that they did a lot tonight was they played games on the offensive line. I think they used some of this as practice because they felt like they had it made. Jason Peters, the old fella, I got to be honest with you, Jason Peters, he was mauling some guys. As pass blocking, he was kicking people left and right. And getting Tyler Smith playing some guard, I think, is an anticipation of getting Tyron Smith back. The thing I hope, and this is really looking way too far down the road, but if the Cowboys are fortunate enough to have a chance to win the Super Bowl, I hope that guys like Jason Peters, I know Jason Peters hasn't played a lot, but he's been there as pieces of there. And I'm sure he's been there as a mentor to these other younger guys, because we have a lot of younger guys. I hope that, if they do happen to get a ring, that Jason Peters is part of that, getting it. I hope when Tyron Smith comes back that they don't just say, we're just going to cut Jason Peters goodbye and so on. I think he's a guy who, came in off the streets, gave you everything he had as a 40-year-old, and meshed in with you and is doing anything and everything that you ask. And I love that about it. So you got to give the offense there credit. Defensively, I'm still concerned about Micah Parsons. And it's funny about Micah Parsons. It seems like if he's going to get a sack, he's getting 2. It's either he's got 2 sacks or he got no sacks. And it's kind of like, okay, I would say watch out for next week, because next week will probably be a monster week. As a team, we only got 3 sacks. We're only up to 48. We're falling behind on that chance to get to 72. We're going to need a couple of monster weeks to get back on track. But the defense, I can't complain about what they did as far as getting takeaways, forcing fumbles and taking interceptions. We got 4 takeaways in this game. Matty Ice looked good for a series, but for the most part, he was under pressure. And he made some plays. I'm not going to say he didn't. The running game, which is still concern for me, is us stopping the run. That's the Achilles heel on this team right now, is stopping the run. And They were able to run the ball a bit, but once the Cowboys started stepping the foot on the gas and getting ahead, and they ended up making it one-dimensional, the running game just died, and they were able to put more pressure on Matty Ice and keep him from doing anything in there. But how about Deron Bland? Now, Anthony Brown, a guy who's much maligned, the people always are saying, get him out of here, fire him. You understand that you got Kellen Joseph as the next man up. Kellen Joseph, right now, it's time to shit or get off the toilet. He's had a rough start to a career, but right now, he ain't got too much else that you can go with. You're going to have to get him coached up and get him in a position to be successful. But Deron Bland, how about that, brother? 2 interceptions there. Deron Bland, you, brother, you get a game ball. As well as Malik Hooker. And see, this is one of those cases that, the Cowboys, we all, as fans, we look at the Von Millers, we look at the Bobby Wagners, we look at the big name players. But Malik Hooker, who was playing against his old team, who got an interception as well as a fumble as well, has been playing outstanding for the Cowboys. And he was one of those bargain basement guys that Catboy wanted to sign and say, I got me a bargain. And Malik Hooker is getting back to where he was as an Indianapolis Colt before the Achilles tendon tear. He definitely gets a game ball. So we did get 3 sacks. 3 sacks by Osa Indigazua, as E2 Blue would say. He got one. Anthony Barr finally got back out on the field. Back on the field with the hamstring injury. He got a sack, and Donovan Wilson got a sack. So all 3 of those guys, the Dallas Cowboys sack exchange, leading the NFL in sacks, they all get a game ball. And I will say the whole defense, getting the takeaways, getting the scores, shutting down and stopping before the half. When we did have the interception and holding them to a field goal, the defense has done things that we have not had a defense do in a long time. Our defense has been saving our ass. But that's what you need. You need an offense that can score. Some weeks the offense is going to have it and take care of the defense. Other times you need your defense to take care of you. And come the playoffs, you need to put all this stuff together. You need to be able to have that running game. You need to have your quarterback that's efficient. You need that defense that's going to stop the run, that's going to be able to get the ball and takeaways, and get turnovers and sometimes score. All those things are coming together for the Cowboys. 39.8 points a game. I'm old enough to remember the Eagles talking about how the Dallas Cowboys are scared of the Eagles. Bro, you might want to be scared of the Dallas Cowboys that since Dak Prescott has come back are 5-1 and scoring a lot of points. All right, good people. I appreciate you as always. Remember, tell the people you love them. You might not get the chance again. And I love you guys. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Whew. Tomorrow's another day. Got a lot of work to do in the workshop to get these things out to you guys. Shout out to all of our new members. We got 9 new channel members. Shout out to, we got, I think, 5 winners we draw today. I'll be getting those things packed up and stuff. Michael will be back on Tuesday, and so they'll get going out. And if you did become a new channel member, if you go to the community tab on my YouTube channel here, in there's a link. It's a post to members only. It's a link to our Thrive site, and that will get you to get registered so we get your address so we can send you your shot glass and whatever else, depending on what level you are. All right, good people. You've seen enough of me today. I'll see you, God willing, in a few hours. Peace.